Leaders Aware everywhere. It's the Leaders Aware podcast, and I'm grateful that you're here with me today. Listen, every step that you take to become a leader that is more aware, you are joining the movement. You're adding impact to the movement. You're adding momentum to the movement because we are literally changing the landscape of leadership, and you are a part of that. So I'm grateful that you're here. I'm grateful that you chose to invest this time with me today. So I want to value your time. I want to honor your time and you as an individual. Today I have a quote for you, and I was struggling on how I should lay this out, but I'm just going to give it to you just like this. There's a quote by George Eliot that says it's never too late to become who you might have been. It's never too late to become who you might have been. So I'll tell you, one of the reasons that I started the Leaders Aware podcast is for that simple reason. Because it was never too late for me to become who I might have been. If you don't know already, I'm Alfonzo Jones. I'm 45 years old, married with 2 kids. And I've lived a lot of life. There's a lot of opportunities that I've had. There's a lot of opportunities that I've squandered. There's a lot of opportunities that I neglected out of fear. But at the end of the day, I'm never too old, and it's never too late for me to become who I might have been. So this is where the Leaders Aware podcast, in part, was birthed. Now, if you don't already know as well, that the Leaders Aware podcast is actually a product of Trifecta Prime Leadership, which is a leadership development firm that I founded about 2 or 3 years ago. Again, and these are passion projects. This is an attempt, this is a desire to get things out of me that I left stagnant. I had to come to a point where I realized that there was more in me and I could do more. And again, this is why you are seeing these businesses, this podcast, and I in part want to inspire you to do the same, to decide and to acknowledge that there are things within you that you desire to do that maybe you feel like you're too old, you missed the boat, or that the opportunity is no longer available. Can you try again? Can you try again? Because again, this is one of the reasons why, another reason why I wanted to start this podcast, in part. So the leadership development firm is one thing where we activate, empower, and enhance the lives and leaderships of individuals and organizations. But I felt like there was another piece. And I felt like that there are too many people that settle for what is instead of striving for what could be. See, it's like you've been dealt this card, this hand. This is the hand that you've been dealt, and you have to play it like this. So you settle for that plan. You settle for that process. But in turn, let's be honest. Maybe you don't like playing cards. Maybe you want to build a house of cards. Maybe you want to play dominoes. And you should not have to settle. What are you settling for? See, for me, I settled for the fact that I was just built to give direction in a leadership role, right? In a business role. I'm working for a business. I'm working for Chick-fil-A, right? For many, many of years. And I settled in the fact that, you know what? This is the extent of my leadership reach. That I come in, I train leaders for this business. But there was still more. I knew that, and I had to realize that I was settling. And that is why I had to do more. It was scary, yes. It took a lot of mental. There was a mental struggle there, internal battle, lot of conversations, but I had to do it. And that is the reason why I am telling you that you have to do it. You have to stop settling. Now, granted, it can be this and that. It doesn't have to be this or that, right? You can do both, but you definitely may need to do more. Now, if you're one that feels fulfilled where you are, then that's fine. Because that's great. That's what you're supposed to feel, fulfilled. But if there's an uneasiness in you, if you're checking yourself emotionally, physically, mentally, and if there's an uneasiness, maybe you need to dig into what could be. Maybe you are settling. And if you needed a sign, this is your sign. This is your sign. What does settling look like? Now, this may be controversial, okay? I will say this before I say what I'm going to say. I've heard this quote, you've heard this phrase a lot of times. When life hands you lemons, what do? You make lemonade, right? But in my heart of hearts, I feel like making lemonade out of lemons is in part settling. Because life has given me this, and I have to make out of this what has been given to me, right? I have to make lemonade out of these lemons. But what if you take those lemons, give them back, and request what you desire? What if you take those lemons, give them back, and say, you know what, I don't want lemonade, I want sweet tea? Is that an option? I want to suggest to you today that is very much so an option. Just because you've been given lemons doesn't mean you have to make lemonade. And mind you, you might be very good at making lemonade. People may tell you how good you are at making lemonade. You may make the best lemonade that is around, right? But that does not mean that is what you were made for. That does not mean that this is your purpose. If you do not feel fulfilled, then you cannot settle. Stop settling. I have to stop settling. You have to stop settling. We have to stop settling. So if we're going to do this, and I have my notes here, this is the question that I need you to start asking yourself. What do I want, and how do I get there? If you're feeling unfulfilled, if you're now realizing that you are settling, it's time to start asking the question, what do I want, and how do I get there? Because what I really want you to do, I want you to start dreaming again. I want you to start dreaming again. Because oftentimes when we get into a state of settling, we diminish, we neglect, and we deny our dream. That thing that comes up in your mind, and you say, you know what, that's way too big. That's way too far outside of my comfort zone. I can't do that. We stop addressing, we stop giving attention to, we stop nurturing those dreams and desires that we truly have. And we just keep making lemonade. And I know I'm using this lemonade analogy, but I think it fits. It fits because in our settling, we try to find fulfillment in the settling. And that's not what we're not built to do that. Now, we may try to make ourselves fit into that mold, but to be honest, you're not built to settle in an environment and in a lane that you weren't created for. You were created for more. And again, I'm not talking to everyone. I'm talking to a select few. A select few people who, as I am talking, as you're listening to this, you're saying, you know what, Alfonzo, you're right. You are absolutely right. There is something that I thought about. There's something that I considered. There's something that I dreamed about. And I 100% neglected it. I put it on the back burner because it's too big. I'm afraid. Or I feel like it's not what people would expect out of me. This is your sign. This is your sign. We're not settling anymore. No more settling. And we're asking the question, what do I want? How do I get there? That's the question. That's the assignment. That's the purpose of the Leaders Aware podcast. I don't want you to settle anymore because there's more. And when you walk into that room, that arena, yes, it's going to be new. Yes, it may be scary, but yes, it will be fulfilling. Now, this podcast episode was really supposed to be about, the reasons why I started the Leaders Aware podcast and give you all the background. But I really feel like you needed to hear that today. In this moment. This is your sign. Too many of us are settling, and too many opportunities are waiting for you. And for some of you, there's an opportunity that hasn't been seized yet. Because it's your opportunity. It's your treasure. It's your box. It's your gift. So how long will the box, will the gift, will the treasure go unopened? Yes, it has dust on it already. Yeah. Some of you have been waiting way too long. But guess what? It's never too late to become what you might have been. The opportunity is still there. This is your sign. I want you to take some time today to acknowledge where you feel like you've been settling. I want you to take some time to acknowledge where you have been settling. And I need you to start pushing yourself. Start pushing yourself. Start making some moves. With Trifecta Prime Leadership, there's a framework that I use that worked for me. I call the winning A's. There's 3 A's. Awareness, application, accountability. So today, we've acknowledged, we've become aware that we've been settling. So now that we understand this, we need to take what we've learned and we have to apply it to our scenarios. We have to apply it to our life. And then the third piece is accountability. What does that look like? That can look different for different people based on your personality style, based on your background. But it can look different. For me, Leaders Aware Podcast, again, is a passion project. I knew that I had to do it. I gained the knowledge needed and that was necessary to actually produce this. And I had accountability, not just with others, but in myself. How did I do that? I promised myself that I was going to produce this podcast every other Tuesday. So it doesn't matter how I'm feeling at all. I have to produce on Tuesday. It's happening. And this is, I don't know when you're listening to this, but as it stands now, it's Tuesday. Every other Tuesday, there will be a new podcast being rolled out. That's the accountability I have to myself. And I heard someone say that if you can't keep a promise to yourself, it'll be very difficult to keep a promise to anyone else. You have to start with you. You have to make a promise to yourself and keep that promise. So that's what we're doing. We're figuring out where are we settling, and we need to start making some moves. You need to start making some moves because it's time. It's time. You're aware of what you need to do. Now it's time to apply it, but do not forget that accountability. I am honored to have been and to be a continuing part of this journey that you're on. I'm honored, truly. I'm humbled, and I'm excited. I'm excited because today starts the beginning of the rest of your life. And that may sound cliche, but let me tell you, when you stop settling, when you can identify and now step into a new arena, things change. And I don't know how they're going to change for you, but they will change because you're taking a step towards fulfillment. And that's what it's about. But Leaders Aware, here we are, embarking again on a new journey, or maybe just going deeper into the journey that we've already begun. So I want you to comment. I want you to leave me some type of message so I know that you are locked in. That you are locked in. I want you to put dreaming again. Dreaming again. Now, if you put dreaming again, I know that you're embarking. I know that you've been reignited. Or maybe you've already realized that you've been settling. And if that's you, I need you to comment locked in. So dreaming again or locked in. You're one of those two. But again, as always, I'm honored to be a part of your journey. It's going to be a good ride. I'm proud of you. Very proud of you. I love you. I respect you. And I'm excited to see what is about to happen in your journey, in your life, and how this changes you as an individual. Because you're changing. Because we realize now it's never too late to be who we might have been. I believe you're on a journey to become. Leaders Aware, have a great day. Do your homework. And I'll see you next time.